Alright. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Corey LeBlanc coming to you live from, coming to you live from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, capital of Canada. I'm up on, I don't know, Smith or Ring Street, wherever this fucking Chio place is. No, I know where Chio is. My wife's in there with my oldest son, who's getting a sleep test done to see if he's taking seizures in his sleep. Because 3 years ago, like I said, he was diagnosed with epilepsy, and he was taking something called petty seizures more often, and he took 2 grand mal seizures. And then they gave him some medication, and he kind of took it and kind of didn't, and how he felt, a little fucker. And they basically have stopped, in a matter of speaking. As far as we know, he's not having seizures, so they want to make sure he's not having them at night. So they made a test. They've done a test about close to a year ago, maybe now. And now, so this is the second test, so they can compare results to see if whatever. It's not something I know a lot about, so I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about it. I did as much research as I possibly could to figure this shit out for him. And I think that's something every parent would do if they're of sound mind. The doctor tells you, kid has something, then you just don't look anything up and just take the doctor's word for everything and not necessarily challenge the doctor's opinion, but see if there's shit that you can do to help out, you know what I mean? Anyways, that's besides the fact. But I guess what I'm trying to say is just, yeah, I'm in Ottawa, and my son hasn't been having seizures, so that's a good thing. I am of the belief that we can heal ourselves. No matter big or small, we can heal ourselves. Shit, I'm turning off this stuff. Now, if you have something big, something like a cancer, maybe even epilepsy, like I say, because he's got scar tissue on his brain, which is what was caused by something happening. So there's something, whatever his brain was developing, that didn't necessarily get developed correctly, which was causing. And I mean, these things spark when puberty hits. And when my son 2 years ago, my stepson, I mean, he's fucking like 6 something now. He's a monster. He's way bigger than I am. If I have a picture, I'll throw it up. But before he got diagnosed, he wasn't this tall. So he was hitting puberty and extra testosterone and all these things. This is when these things will happen. Your brain's trying to develop and all that, but if it didn't develop correctly, what these things happen. So I'm of the mind, body, and soul and belief, like within my being, I believe that we can fucking heal anything. Now, if it's something really big, well, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder, and you're going to have to be more than 100% dedicated. You say, well, there's no such thing as more than 100%. I'm like, oh yeah, there is. I can give 100%, but then I can give like extra above and beyond, you know. So, and it's all on perception. I made that case in my last video. So, what I'm trying to say is, you know, do what the doctor says, whatever they say, take the stem cell treatments, but then you need to look up like how to live, how to fucking breathe properly, how to eat properly, how to get the right water in your system. You gotta figure out what kind of exercises you can do at the stages you're in and gradually work that fucking up to get better and better and better and better and better. I mean, there are things you can do, and one of the biggest things you can do is not focus on what you have. You can continuously pretend that you don't have that, or visualize that whatever's healing, like if you got a brain scan or a scan of whatever affected area with whatever disease you have, but then you can literally take that and then you can look up or get the doctor to hand you a picture of what a good part of the body would look like without your specific disease, infection, whatever it is, disorder, whatever it is that's causing you to have this thing. So then you can visualize every night with like positive self-talk / affirmations. Put it on the recorder just like any other magic I've ever taught, while you're visualizing that good scan and not thinking about your bad scan. And you can maybe even picture the bad scan for a second and slowly seeing it develop into that good scan. So you don't have to be a doctor to do that. You don't have to know how the body works to do that. All you have to do is get the doctor who does know those things to give you the pictures of both. and then you can ask him what specific things are damaged in there. So if he says, okay, well, it's because you don't have enough stem cells, or you don't have enough white blood cells, or you don't have enough this, whatever technical term he gives you, then you can ask all the questions, okay, so hypothetically, and obviously, if you're around a doctor, don't pretend like you're going to be able to heal yourself and say that shit, because then you're going to get his mind involved, thinking that you can't heal yourself, and what the doctor diagnosing you thinks is going to be very important for your magic. Therefore, if he's at least a blank slate, neutral on the idea, obviously has his opinion, but overall kind of neutral, and he's not really going to think about you because he's going to have 100 more patients that day to deal with, well, that's your best bet. But if you make an impression on him as if you're going to be able to heal yourself, and that's why you're asking all this information, well, then not so much. So I would say something effective, okay, well, if I want to make sure my kids don't get something like this, develop something like this, what are things I can do? What should I have done better? What things would have to happen in the body for that to heal, if it's even possible? And then get him to say a hypothetical scenario. And then you can look that up and see if you can tweak that and get it better. And then you can put that into your spellcraft, into your affirmations, and actually say it and visualize the part that, like I said, the two pictures, the one that you are and the one that you want to be, roughly someone who's got the healthy that you don't have. You can visualize that transforming into that. I mean, you don't even have to go this far, but this is what I do for my children and myself and my wife, and for everybody that I know has some type of illness, if I want to get involved in healing energy. Because once again, Birch says it best, there's a reason the old people, the elders, the fucking ancestors said to not get into healing magic until at least well into like your third initiation, or at least when you're out of like 5 grades of initiation, depending on the witchcraft or the system you're doing. So, all that being said, if you're going to do healing magic on anybody, you better have it down. You better not just say, well, I'm sending this person positive energy to heal the body. You're fucking killing them if you do that, okay? Because I've already said, positive energies to the collective, to the unconscious mind, or the subconscious, whatever one you want to use there, okay? Positive energy is positive ions, positive electricity, because we are electricity. Everything is electricity, even thoughts, emotions, and all that. Emotion is the electricity we put into there. So if you're saying positivity, well, that's different. But if you're saying positive energy, it is coming down to electricity and ions. Positive ions is what's bombarding you from your Wi-Fi routers, from 5G, if that's something you believe in, from your TV screens, from, well, I don't know about the sun, but which is something very interesting. You can look up an ion and the word on and off, positive, negative, and all the different names for the sun, and it'll dumbfound you. But that aside, don't send someone positive energy. Positivity, or good ass energy, like Ralph Smart says, is a good way to give you some good energy. But simply stating that you were sending someone positive energy and you want to take away all their negative energy, you will kill them, or at least give them depression or some shit. So please don't do that. Look up the shit. And I don't want you to start saying, I send this person negative ions either. I mean, who you send someone negative ions? Maybe they have too much negative ions. And that's why, once again, I know negative ions help even out the body. Well, let's say someone's already doing that, and that's not their issue, it's something else, and then you give them an excessive negative ions. Well, maybe they're going to be too negatively charged at that point. The negative ions are great for balancing out the positive ions, but too much positive ions are bad, just like too much negative ions are bad. And you don't know what's going on with this person. Their issue could be they're doing it too much already. So once again, if you're going to do healing magic, isolate the issue. So if your son has ADHD or whatever, well, you figure out what had to happen, and I know this and I can tell you this, but I won't unless someone really wants me to talk about it. Send me a comment and I'll fucking tell you exactly what to do. So you find out where the affected part of the brain is for the that causes someone to be ADHD, or thereabouts, something to that effect. So what happens in early childhood, whatever the case is. So you got a few options here. You can go back into your memories in early childhood, and every time you interacted with your son or daughter who's got ADHD, if you did something wrong, you go back in your memories and you change that. You keep changing that. You do that every fucking day until you start seeing a change in your son or daughter. And then there's the same thing I just said. If you find out what has to happen, you get brain scan or whatever the case is. And then you get a proper brain scan. Or at the very least, you just look online to see an ADHD brain and a non-ADHD brain. And you visualize your son or daughter's brain turning into that. Okay? Or better yet, you visualize your son visualizing himself better. That's a little deeper, and I won't even get into that. But if I do magic for somebody else, that's how I do it. If I want my daughter's, son's, wife, something to happen within them, in my visualization, we're both in the circle, and I'm there, and I have the energy coming through me because I'm the practitioner or whatever. Maybe I did the middle pillar, and I had a steady beam going through me, and maybe my feet are the roots in the ground if I'm not in the astral per se. But I have them there doing the exercises, opening the circle and all that. And while they're doing it, then they're saying they're so grateful for this. See, there's something to be said about doing rituals in your head. Because in your head, you can have whatever the fuck you want. You don't have sage, you don't have incense, you don't even have candles. No problem. Build yourself a fucking temple room inside your head. So, close your eyes, and you see yourself in your house. Even though you're laying in your bed, forget you're laying in the bed. Get out of your fucking bed. Well, okay. So, if you're laying in your bed, close your eyes, and then in your mind, you get out of your fucking bed. You go downstairs in the basement, and all of a sudden, there's a brand new room there. And you open up that fucking door, and that's your temple room. You walk in there, and you got all your candles. They're already fucking lit. And today's Saturday, today right now is Wednesday, so we'll say you go in there, and there's a big fucking orange candle. Yeah, perfect, actually. Healing. I'm talking about healing magic, and it's Mercury, Archangel Mercury. Whenever Mercury is in Scorpio is the best time to do healing magic, unless Mercury is retrograde. But if you use your words right, you can use that too. Anyways, nonetheless, so you go in there, big fucking orange candle with Archangel Raphael sigil in there, because if you don't know, Archangel Raphael is the magical physician. And on Frederick Xavier's channel, he's literally got a woman, I'll play the video, but he's really got a woman who says she'd done the ritual in her head and forgot about it, and then her grandfather got rid of stage 4 cancer. I forget of what kind. So anyways, you can have anything. You go into that temple room, you fucking light up your circle, and as you're spinning around, I spin around 3 times when I carve out my circle, which is more like a sphere, like I said, but I spin around 3 times, and once again, generally blue is my default that comes out of my hand that goes around me for some reason. I don't know why that is. And I suck it up with my left hand after, because that's part of me. I'm using the part of me to carve out my circle. But I still think Saturn. And I mean, black would probably work too, but I feel fire coming out of me, like a blue fucking fire. Because blue is protection. It's Jupiter, right? So I think that's probably has something to do with it. Plus, I'm going to the astral, subconscious mind, moon, blue, Anyways, so since you're in your mind, you can fucking visualize anything. So you spin around 3 times in a circle with fucking blue flame or orange flame or whatever fucking flame you want coming out of your 2 fingertips. Or if you have an athame, because it's your dream, you could. And then out of the athame end, you see that fucking blue flame coming out. Just carve that bitch out. And then you start with the fucking Kabbalistic cross. Ata Malkus Vergamura. If you can't vibrate your voice like that, it's fine. Practice it though. It's really good to vibrate the God names, not just say. Vibrate. Vergadul, Vergadullah, Liolam. Something to that effect. And you saw me do Malkuth here. I learned that from Frater. He says when you're doing it there, it's like the middle pillar. At the end of the middle pillar, Adonai Haaretz ends up being your feet above the ground, but you see the sphere also below the ground, which is hard when you're in the astral to realize that you're on the planet, which is feet. But that makes you like a big fucking tree or some shit. Anyways, doesn't matter. Is there even a place here I can get smokes? I'm looking for a fucking corner store. The Dollarama Animal Hospital store. I got off the topic there for a second. Wonder fucking no, they won't. Shit. Anyways, so yeah, you point at your solar plexus area, because that's. Anyways, just do it. I'm not gonna get into why. Watch for videos, and you'll find the one that he talks about doing it. Anyways, sorry, my wife texted me updates. And then from there, depending on what your tradition does. I call the quarters at this point. And I'm not talking about like opening the watchtower and all that. However, that is part of my ritual. But a simple, if you're just starting, and you're not at the level to call the quarters, to do a watchtower, bring in the elements, all that, to do the greater ritual of the pentagram. If you're not at that stage, this is how I did, okay? I simply said, how do I word that? I used to say thank you, and I'm honored that the elemental and watcher of the East has come to my ceremony ritual, whatever, something to that effect. But then I remember Birch saying you command the elements, the elementals. The watcher is a different thing, but you command the elements and elementals. So I eventually ended up changing that to just, well, this is like just during my initiation, but calling or forcing or commanding, I guess is the better word, with respect, the element and the elemental to come to the quarter, each quarter, and then I would thank the watcher for being there in each quarter, because you have a candlelit watch. So you're doing this all in your head. Anyways, and then you would start your lesser banishing of the pentagram, and you would do it, the banishing one first. So you banish any negative energy that might be on you, within your sphere, that might have came in your circle with you, which doesn't happen. Anything that's in that room, anything that's in your mind. So you start off, if you're pointing at the east, well, you start at the east point and you go away from it to water, down to earth, up to spirit, down to fire, back to air. You finish there, and then you go widdershins, counterclockwise way around it for banishing. And then you fucking sign of Ventura, sign of signs. I don't know what, your tongue hitting the roof of your mouth as soon as you stomp your foot. Then you go over to the other part of the quarter, the west. And then for fire, you start at the fire point, but you go away from it to earth, and then down, and then back to earth, up, and back to fire. Or something to that effect, anyways. No, fire would have been air, east, fire, water, earth. Okay, yes, I did that a little bit wrong. But anyways, the point is, you do all that shit, and then in the middle of your ceremony, you would visualize after doing that, and then you do your middle pillar. Okay, this is the neophyte stage. Then you do your middle pillar. This is if you have to absolutely do healing magic for somebody you love, and you're just an initiate, okay? And this is information for the adepts who have a more elaborate practice, or who's in witchcraft, who doesn't do ceremonial magic, but wants some ideas. Well, whatever tradition you do, after you do your main shit, okay, there's a place in your ritual where you are performing the magic, which is, I'm so grateful that I successfully removed the tumor out of my brother-in-law's brain, visualizing it and then getting that emotion going, jumping up and down in fucking happiness or gratitude or whatever the case is, just fucking overwhelmed with feeling. This is why it's important, if you're doing it in the flesh, that you're not self-conscious about what people think. So you turn up fucking some loud alpha hertz music in the next room, so people either don't come near you or they can't hear you, something to that effect. Plus that'll help you get in the right state, get things to go right in. It's just one thought, but doing it in your head, fuck, man, you could be crying with tears of joy, because it's harder to do that in the physical, right? But you can do anything in your head. I mean, I have really good visualization, not so good, because people are either really good at visualization, but then they're not really good at being like calm, quiet, concentrating, sitting there and meditating, you know what I mean? But they can visualize like a motherfucker. It's because they have to do something, ADD like, right? They have to be doing something constantly. So even visualizing is doing something. So if you're that kind of person, but you can't stay calm, you can't just focus on breathing, you get bored, blah, 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 well, then you have to use your visualizations to help you with your concentration, so calm down and concentrate. Why is that? Well, because if you always have to be doing something, then you got to make the something you're doing the concentrating. So you concentrate on point. Anyways, I already got into all that. I'm not going to do that again. But anyways, so you're doing all this in your head, but then this is the point where you would do what I just said. Take the scan of the not good scan and the good scan, and I would take that good scan of the brain and fucking make a sigil on it saying, this is now the brain of my child. This is his brain. I don't know. You have to word a spell correctly for that. Being like, I'm so grateful that this is what my son's brain looks like, or whatever. And so you really got to make sure that picture, if you do something like that, doesn't have any other issues. I mean, they might show you a picture that has no brain tumors, but maybe that person's got something else. So very careful if you do something like that. So that's why you're better off with just something saying like, hey, I'm so grateful that my son doesn't have ADHD anymore, you know. But you really want to, if you're doing healing magic, you really don't want to be vague. You really want to isolate the fucking problem. There's little rituals you can do with soap, the banishing rituals, and so simple stuff. And it's all just it's sympathetic magic. It's all little things that go in your head. And anyways, I'm gonna go find that Frederick Xavier video, and I'll come back on and I'll tell you some more about something else, I guess. All right. So before I get into that video, I was talking about doing a ritual with someone else doing the ritual. So for my daughter, for example, when she was telling me she was seeing zombies. It was, for a while she was saying monster. She was calling every monster a zombie. She just had a bad dream too a couple nights ago, and the same day I had a meditation that went fucking wackadoodle. Let me do. I never had a dark meditation like that before. Meditating and seeing all the pictures and all that. This was like, oof. But anyways, same day. So obviously I did a fucking whole house cleansing, and you know, she's been sleeping great. So, but anyways, but initially when that was happening, one night I laid in bed with her, okay, and then in my mind, fucking opened up the circle, and I did my whole fucking ritual. After my ritual, I kept the circle, and this is all in my head. I kept the circle open in my head, and she comes in the circle, and I mean, it's visualizing, so you gotta watch what you do there. But anyways, I don't think I opened a door for her to get in the circle. I think I just made her like appear in the circle, almost as if she was there the whole time previous to this. I don't know. So maybe that's something you want to do first, because you don't want to open up doors and not close them. Some people say you can leave a door in your circle and come in and out if you have to, but it's like, no, you close it when you're done and you open it when you're done. So I guess technically I probably should have closed it and then reopened it with her in there with me. But nonetheless, so then she's in there with me, and then I get her to do the Descenda Colomba Ascenda Serpens. Descenda Colomba Ascenda Serpens. Descenda Colomba Ascenda Serpens. O. And you take your fist, 5 pounds of pressure on your chest, and you pull out this big egg-like sphere around your body. This is something you can use if you think you're under psychic attack, under any kind of attack. If you just feel shitty, you're going somewhere like you have a bad feeling, just throw that bitch up in your head first, and then this way, when that bitch is up, nothing can get into you. It's like having this hard egg thing. It's the same concept of Frater and Birch, you know, like shields up and shit like that. But I got that from the same guy who writes Sorcerer's Secret and Financial Sorcery, Jason Miller, but it was in his Protection, Reversal, and something else book. So Descendant Colomba is, well, it means there's a column of fucking light descending into you, and then there's also a Ascenda Serpent, is ascending serpent, but it's red energy from the earth. So it says to visualize a white energy coming down through your crown, through your chakras, and at the same time you visualize a red light coming up from energy from the ground. So that would be, I don't know, positive and negative ions, maybe, I don't know, but here are just positive and negative energy, or just male and female, who knows, whatever you want to conceive of that. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but nonetheless, so that happens, and they meet right at your chest where you grab it, so your solar plexus once again, and that's when you pull on that. So that's the first thing I had her do that night, because, you know, maybe she was under attack, maybe there's something in the house that's supposed to be attacking me, but I can't get through my defenses, so it goes after my daughter. I don't know. So I made her do that. So she was in a circle, and then she threw up the egg. Boom. So that's kind of what I mean. But I'll literally
In 400 meters, turn right onto Smith Road, Ottawa Regional Road, 72.
Fuck. Sorry about that. I'll literally have Owen, Savannah, Sienna, my wife Sandy, or Austin doing the middle pillar, the Kabbalistic cross, all those exercises. So,
turn right onto Smith Road, Ottawa Regional Road, 72.
And within the middle of the right, I'll be there with them. And I don't know if you ever watch anybody doing
in 600 meters, turn left at South Haven Place.
I don't know if you ever watch anybody doing rituals online. I have a few times, but I always cringe. I don't like watching people do rituals. I don't know. Oh shit, that's not my turn. I even got her telling me where to go, and I can't even go in right. But that's the shield there. That's why. I always cringe. I don't know why, but they're very good if you don't know how to start your fucking whatever. It's when people start doing rituals online for like clickbait, trying to get people to watch and feel like they're part of it. I don't know. There's just something about something like that fucks with me.
Turn left at South Haven Place, then turn right onto Ring Road.
But an informative teaching ritual, showing people what to do. Like Frater has one video, I think it's on his Patreon.
Turn right onto Ring Road, then turn left.
I think it's on his Patreon, but he's actually, I should shut this bitch off, he's actually using a virtual reality.
Turn left, then slight right.
Virtual reality to do his pentagrams and lesser banishings and all that, which is pretty fucking sick. So, I know I arrived, bitch, and I don't want to fucking...
Slight right, then you will arrive at your destination.
Slight right. I'm a left hand. I'm not right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm neither. I'm both. I'm neither and both at the same motherfucking time. Anyways, so, but there's ceremonies where there's two people in the room doing different things. So if you're into like any goetic shit or whatever, then you can see where having a second person in there who's looking into either the scribe here or the candle triangle thing there, you're supposed to use, whatever the case is, you can see where that could be beneficial even in your mind. And you'd be surprised, because at a certain point when you're doing this, you're going to start getting information, pictures coming in. You have to bring yourself back to the ritual often, because you might be starting to fall asleep, but it's not your regular sleep, it's that waking sleep. It's you are accessing your own personal small amount of DMT, so it's giving you dreams, okay? So it's not like the DMT you take, you're high, you're walking around seeing things. Although if you ever do something like salvia, it's very much like you just go to sleep for a few minutes and then you wake back up. It's not like you're walking around conscious and unconsciously seeing things, kind of like mushrooms. Doing something like mushrooms, which I have. You're conscious and you're walking around, and yet your body's tingling and there's body buzz. You have this hour, 45-minute period where you're just laughing off your ass. But then, depending on how much you take, things are altered. So I've never straight up saw like fucking, shrooms, Smurfs walking around and shit like that. But I've seen little borders around the top, looking like one of those, Magick eye things where you have to focus but not focus and you see a picture. I've seen the borders around houses turn into that. I've seen the TV channels dance. I've seen numbers wiggle and move, and that was probably the weirdest thing off of 2 grams of shrooms I've ever seen. So like I've never literally, like I said, seen Smurfs walk or shit like that. But when I started seeing dancing letters, I was like, whoa, that was cool. And when I thought about that later on, when I learned about sigil magic and shit like that, that really floored me. It's like, the letters are alive, the words are alive. You can speak things into existence because they're alive, they have a consciousness. And then it's like everything has a consciousness. That's something to meditate on. But anyways, that's my belief, is your pituitary lights up the pineal, and both of them, they produce fucking DMT, and that's what happens when you dream. That's why serotonin is very important too, but melatonin is something really good. It'll help you sleep, but it'll also help you calm down, it'll help you wake up. It's very strange how this acts. It acts differently. Melatonin acts differently during the day than it does at night. It has to do with the free radicals in the air. There's free radicals in the air, but the sun kills them. Free radicals can be very dangerous. And that's why there's certain supplements you can take, and then they can't even touch you. But at night, without the sun's protection, the free radicals are out. So anyways, something you should look into, though, if you're not sure what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyways, so that's what I was trying to get into. That's what I was trying to say about this magic. So if you're trying to heal this person, well, when you're doing a visualization, you can be doing one at your altar and pretend they're there in the flesh with you. That could work. But you're probably better off to do your one in the flesh. And then at night, at bedtime, whatever, do the other one. Do one where you're visualizing everything and they're there with you in the circle. Maybe they watch you the first time, and then maybe the second time they fucking do it, And then at that midpoint, like I said, where you ask the universe for what you want, then maybe they're asking, and by asking, they're saying they're grateful for themselves being healed. Maybe that's something you want to try, which worked for me. It's worked greatly. When you start realizing that you are boundless and within your mind, you can do anything within your mind. And if you use your mind. Okay, so you don't have much money right now, but you want to get stuff into the astral, so you can, you put an idea in that astral. Well, it has to create its counterpart here. It's like there's two worlds, good, bad, light, day, whatever. Maybe right now it's nighttime in the astral and it's daytime here, so that makes up for the time change. Who the fuck knows? Maybe that's why doing something right before the moon comes up, it works better. Or doing something right in the morning, you get something in your mind better. Maybe that has something to do with it. I think it's more like the mind state you're in, but nonetheless. If you create something up there, if you stare at a sigil, if you focus on you becoming something, if you say affirmations for how many days and you do all the extra things I've talked about, you're going to create so much energy in this thing that you're going to create it on the astral plane. This is the power, the magicians, witches, ceremonial magic people, ceremonial witchcraft people, even the shamans, and even the fucking new agers, even if they don't know it. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to be able to fix things here on Earth. But what they may not know is that they need to affect the astral. You need to get the shit they want on the astral first. So you get energy, focus all your energy into one thing, creates it on the astral, then you get it down here. The faster you can do that, the better. Alright, so the format, this is going to be a little weird because this is way after the next part of the video, after I picked up my wife and stepson and we got response, so I won't get into that. But I'll try not to let that, what I get into after, and I'm going to come back on that because there's two more. So the part you just saw right before this, I didn't really finish that thought, and then I went to my mother-in-law's house. So then the next clip is about my mother-in-law and about my last video, what I said, and then the clip after that is about the diagnosis my stepson got. So I know I'm going to, after I finish this little part, just a segue, so it kind of makes some kind of sense, then I'm going to break down some of the other shit after, and I'm going to try not to let, anyways, why am I explaining this right now? Anyway, so I was talking about the astral and new agers and other maybe systems. If they don't know they have to get stuff in the astral, then it's probably why people using the law of attraction or affirmations have a hard time getting that shit to work, even though there's some people that are getting it to work. And the people that get it to work, maybe they do other exercises or other practices they're not telling you about. Or maybe they're just, I'm like this, for example. I do everything to the extreme or not at all, which means I'm on the extreme. So I go to the gym. When I go to the gym, I fucking go to the extreme, or I don't go at all. There's no medium ground there for me. When I work, whether I'm hired or hungover, if I decide to go into work that day, I'm either going super hard, like it doesn't matter that I don't feel good or whatever the case is, I'm going hard, or I decide to stay home. My marriage. When we first started, I did everything to please my wife. I loved her. We were in love. We still are in love. But then I got into the occult, and I gave everything to the occult, and then she wasn't getting stuff. So basically, I gave everything to the occult and trying to do my transformation, and she... Anyways, sorry about that. Fucking messages coming in. Point is, I do everything to the extreme. So if someone is really serious about changing their life and they're doing affirmations and law of attraction visualizations to the extreme, where they're doing it so many times a day, like over and over again, and they have ultimate faith in it, the moment they can forget about it for a long enough period of time and have that ultimate faith that it's going to happen, so they don't dwell on it, it's going to happen for them. And the reason is they created it in this other realm, the astral. So I read a long time ago, I don't know if I read it, but I know Mr. Astrotheologically, oh my god, I hate forgetting his name. He did so much to help me out. It's unbelievable what he did to help me out. And I can't thank the man enough. And I know he's having hard times, and he's back up, and I'm so glad he is. Santos Bonacci, okay? Learned so much from him. I think he had something, one of his presentations talked about how the moon protects this realm. Everything has to go through the moon first. So we have this power to be able to manifest whatever the fuck we want. Problem is, if people start manifesting whatever the fuck they want, sorry about that, I had to turn on the car so the battery didn't stop and die out and all that. So we can manifest whatever we want. Whatever we dwell on, we can manifest. Through repetition, what we dwell on tends to manifest. where we put our focus energy tends to manifest. And it's because we have this fail-safe. Call it the subconscious mind, call it everything gets put into the astral first, call it the moon is the filter, call it whatever the fuck you want, magic, fucking whatever, spellcraft, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter, okay? There is this barrier so that we don't just fucking manifest things. You go out there and you put thought and emotion and action into fucking, I wish this person was fucking dead and I'm gonna fucking go to his house and get there and they're already dead, you know what I mean? There's a filter there, so everything has to go to the astral. It has to have enough energy on the astral. And everything on the astral plane has to exist on this plane, is how I understand it. So whatever's up there in your life already is down here in your life already. So this is probably where the idea is of maybe not so much karma, but you're already fated for something. Meaning, all the programming you got as a child and everything you've been saying up until whatever age you are right now has created programming. So every time you mentioned what you're going to be doing in the future, whether it's I'm never going to be rich or when I'm 50 I'm going to have this. If you put enough thought and emotion and energy into those things, well, they are created up there. So what the magician is doing and what New Age and Law of Attraction and people that don't get into ceremonial magic or witchcraft because they think it's of the devil, well, what they need to understand is they need to understand this. They need to understand that astral plane, where they're sending this energy. They're looking at a sigil, they're saying this affirmation over and over again, but they don't know really what it's doing. Yes, it's got to get into the subconscious mind, so that's why you say it so often, and that's exactly what's happening. But the other way to explain that is, well, the moon is representation of your subconscious mind, basically. So you have to get that on your reality in the astral plane first. And if you successfully get it up there, and then that gets filtered down here. It's the fail-safe. It's like, okay, well, if you really want this thing, then you're going to prove that you want this thing by saying you've already got it, you're grateful for it, not dwell on other shit, whatever the case. It's kind of what I'm trying to get at. It's a really hard concept to understand, but there is another realm. And the reason why I think ceremonial magic and ritual magic is the shortcut. I've said this many times. Anybody who's watched me for a length of time has heard me say ritual magic is the shortcut. And the reason I mainly give for ritual magic being the shortcut is because the magic you're performing is a type of action. So it's flamboyant. It's symbolism speaking to the subconscious mind, which is female. The female mind loves symbolism. They love acts of devotion and love. They love the man who's willing to sacrifice for his family. They love the flowers and the chocolates and the fucking doing a proposal in front of a baseball stadium. It eats that shit up. Well, that's the woman mind you're trying to impress. That's the astral plane, the moon you're trying to get your shit on. Okay? So this is the main reason I focus on why it works. The other reason that I'm slowly realizing why, if I'm doing something, whether I do a sigil, whether I'm just doing a simple spell that really you don't have to do ritual magic for, if I do my vanishings, if I do my daily practice, because I've had points where I don't do my daily practice. Well, the days I do my daily practice twice in a day, and I say I'm so grateful for this whatever happening to the god of the day, it happens twice as fast. And I'm coming to the realization that because when you're doing these visualizations, if you take the time to do the initiation, the neophyte grade for the year, you're practicing in your temple room, which, all right, sorry about that. My wife called me and all this about something. Anyways, doesn't matter. So the reason I'm going into this is because I kept saying the New Agers and stuff like that don't realize this concept. And the reason why ritual magic is, well, I still hold true to what I just said is the main reason, the symbolism and getting into your subconscious mind. But as much as that's still true, it's a different way, and it's going to be hard to understand this maybe if you don't do ritual magic or you haven't, I don't know, because I still have trouble understanding it. But I know it's basically what I'm saying about the astral plane. You have to focus on whatever you want intently over and over and over again to get that energy to create it on your astral plane reality, and then it filters down here because what's up there is down here. If you have something down here, so you get rid of an addiction. All right, cold turkey, I'm not going to eat meat. Cold turkey, I'm not going to do dope. I'm not going to drink. Well, you didn't get rid of that on the astral plane. It's still fucking there. And this is why you replace old habit with new habit. Because if you just replace, because you can do it like that. So this is why Thunder Wizard preaches action as well. You start taking actions, and you get the action, and your action is your symbolism to your subconscious mind that I'm making a fucking change. I'm not drinking no more. I'm not doing dope no more. You do this over and over again,
it will allow it for a time. But if you don't replace the habit on the astral, where you do dope and you drink, with a habit from down here, so simultaneously you're trying to get rid of the habit of dope and drinking. Well, if you're not going to AA meetings talking about it, working through it, and you're not picking up a different hobby like fucking doing a practice, Kabbalah, great work, self-transformation, going to your garage every night when you feel like you're about to want to get high or drink, and doing a project, or taking care of the house, if you don't replace it, you don't do chores, laundry, sleep, work out, you don't replace the one habit with a new habit, because you got a certain amount of time, and I can't tell you what that time is because I don't know. There's a certain amount of time that you will be allowed to show the astral that you want this changed and put your energy in it down here. They will allow you a certain amount of time. But if you don't fill that void down here or up there, however you want to look at it, with the new habit, get rid of the old habit and replace it with the new habit, it will make you go back to the old habit if it's still up there. This is why this is so important to learn, which is why ritual magic, you're in your temple room and on your altar, all these things on your altar are extensions of your mind. You make this circle around you, it's a dome around you to protect you, because you are going in your imagination on the mental plane. But on the mental plane, it's closer to the astral plane, is how I understand it. Because you're not on the astral plane when you're in your mind and doing your imagination stuff. If you start zoning out and potentially you get sucked in by something, doing a meditation, or you ask and you do magic to be able to astral travel, which is how Frederick Xavier did it. I've never done it, so I can't comment on it. But in his video, he says he had a sigil to be able to do it. Every night he waited for it, couldn't do it. When he gave up, he got sucked out and it scared the living shit out of him. And he doesn't like to do it anymore. And he says anybody trying to do that but can't have control of their life or just trying to escape. That's his words, not mine. Point is, you can affect the astral plane within your mental plane using symbolism to affect the subconscious mind, who rules, the moon rules that astral plane. So that's why doing this is important. You might be in your basement or in your bedroom, or maybe you have just a candle in your bathroom and you take a shower, you turn on music so no one hears you while you do it. That's fine. You can fucking do that. And if that's all you got, fucking do that. If you got a garage, and if all you can do is in your head, that's okay too, because you're probably even closer here. But there's something said to be doing it in the physical realm. I think if you start off doing it mentally, you're going to get so far, but then potentially, I don't know, you may plateau, but that depends on your energy, your chart, and what you can do. Some people have it in their chart that they can just do things mentally. Some people have to do it all physically, and everything in between. That's what I've seen anyways. But point is, you might feel silly doing it, but it doesn't matter. When I proposed to my wife, I was so fucking nervous and I felt so silly getting down in front of her and doing that. When we read our fucking vows, I felt so silly. The first time I sent her flowers when I was at the house, we were fighting over putting furniture together. And I fucking like, babe, just let me keep working on this. Go answer the door. She's like, I don't want to answer the door. I don't care who's here. Just let him go away. I'm like, go answer the door. And I knew it was the flowers. This was our first Valentine's together. And we were getting so mad trying to put together, actually, the two boys, because we didn't have my girls yet. It was my two step boys there when we first started dating. And we're getting so frustrated putting, I think, bunk beds together. And when she went to the door and she came back and she was so happy. But you know what I mean? Things like that, they eat that shit up. Doesn't matter. Whether you're a girl or not, it doesn't matter. You're a female, yes, I get that. But your conscious mind is still male and your subconscious mind is still female. There are different variants, but the symbolism and how you get it into there is the same. And truth be told, probably why girls are better at this. Now, guys are better at being exaggeration and flamboyant and fucking, you know what I mean, putting on a fucking show, whereas girls are more modest and, you know, they're the ones that have to be impressed versus the guys. We have to impress to get a girl. We have to be impressive. We have to show off. We have to do something, whatever the girl we want likes, to get her. Whereas a girl is the one who has to be impressed. But that being said, she knows what impresses her. Therefore, that's her subconscious mind, her subconscious programming, whatever has been programmed. So whatever impresses her is what she can use to impress her own mind. It's just me thinking outside of the box. It's the first time I've ever thought of that, so make that what you will. But the old-fashioned symbolism ways will work. And you need to get enough energy into whatever you want to manifest into the astral plane. You're not going to know when you did it. But like I said, when I started doing it, when I got serious, it's like, okay, I used the moon phases, okay, my specific way. But when I first started, I did it the traditional way. When they said the moon was waxing, I pulled things to me, and then when they said it was waning, I was pulling stuff out of me. I was banishing poverty out of me when it was waning, and I was invoking prosperity, abundance, and not in those words, you know what I mean? I was literally banishing all my debt. And anyways, my mindset as well, different parts of the moon. But I'd spend the 14 fucking days of the waning moon doing the same fucking candle with the same fucking sigil every fucking night, looking at that, and then doing my fucking temple, my ritual. And then the next 14 days that. And then new month came, and this is where my magic took off. Because after I did this, probably for a year, every month, a specific goal, but I banished the thing I didn't want to happen, and I invoked the thing I did want to happen within the same month, okay? So I'm technically doing 2 types of magic within one 28-day period. Obviously, the voided course thing I didn't really understand at the time, but nonetheless. So that's what I did. And then after that year, now what I do is I have absolute faith, because I've seen so many of my things come into fruition that I have so much faith that I know it's going to happen. Now, I know there's things that don't happen, and when things don't work out for me, like for example, I've done healing magic that's worked. Okay, I said that, I think, no, you'll hear that soon. But I've done healing magic that doesn't work. So I've gotten her brother out of the hospital a few times, David, or I think I helped that. But I can't get him to be healed, okay? And I've tried. And my Uncle Lawrence passed away last Christmas time, and I was going through a rough time as it was. I just didn't want to lose him. But I mean, I found out the day before, and they already said he was going to die. I did 1 candle and asked Archangel Raphael if there was a chance and a reason for him to still be here for his grandkids and all that, could he? And I didn't really go overboard, but still, nonetheless, it failed. So I asked a few times, I never got an answer. And it's funny because Frederick Xavier just had a video about this, he asked why we have to die, because it really bugged him too. And I didn't get the same answers per se as him. And the answer I got was, and I've said it before, I said, who are you to play God, first of all, which I don't think is accurate or good, but that was kind of the first answer I got in a roundabout way. Mine coming a roundabout way, I don't get this booming voice that says, who are you to play God? I get visions, dreams, and thoughts when I'm specifically either trying to write or say stuff. And the next one was, it was a hypothetical situation where David gets healed, he's better, and then within a month he's back sick because he can't change his ways. He won't stop drinking nothing but Pepsi. He won't try to go out. His mom will still think he's sick and, maybe overprotect him. He won't eat a good diet. He won't exercise and still treat people like crap. And what was said basically through a dream character was, why heal somebody if they're not going to change their ways and they're just going to keep needing healing? That's a waste of your energy. You're meant to be here to help yourself. And then the other thing was sometimes you're meant to heal people or to be a part of it for certain criteria, meaning children things sometimes you can be a part of as a lesson to you or as proof, whatever the case was. It was very vague, but it was something to the effect of, there are times where healing other people is necessary, but for the most part, you heal yourself and you teach them within yourself. Unless you're going to get people to come to you and pay you to fucking do it. But even then. So, and that was hard for me to understand, but in the same sense, it's yeah. So if I went and said, hey guys, I know magic, and I was told that if you agree to change your ways after, I will do the magic, I will heal you, and all you have to do is change your ways. They would either say, yeah, no problem, because they won't believe it would happen, and they probably still won't change their ways after anyways, or they would call me insane. So it's like a lose-lose. So what do you do, right? And that's why divination, before you do healing magic for somebody, besides yourself, if it's yourself, you can still do it and not say, should I just tough this out? Do my cells need to learn to fight against this? Or do I need some healing magic? Or do I need to know what's going on so I can tell the doctor where I think the problem is, something to that effect? When it comes to other people, do some type of divination or at least a meditation on it to see how, if you should even butt in. Because people, not always, tragedy happens, and from all outward appearances, sometimes tragedy just happens and there's nothing you can do about it, and it seems like it's just complete unfairness. And maybe it ultimately teaches you a lesson, or maybe it's just that fucking part of life. Maybe you're too attached to your grandfather who's 99 years old and you're going to be heartbroken when he dies, but he lived 100 years almost, you know what I mean? So that's something that's just part of life, most likely, especially if it's natural causes. Like, that's pretty awesome that your grandpa did that. But losing a young child whenever you're trying and working and doing everything in your power to try to do everything right, and it just doesn't work out for you, I can't tell you what the reason that happens for. And my condolences to anybody that's ever happened to, because I can't imagine. But before you meddle in someone's life, you might need to ask and see if it's worth meddling, because you don't want to fuck them up by accident, or you don't want to cause karma for you or create more issues or anything. So, but you can do it. So back to what I was talking about prior to all this was, if I want to get my daughter or my sons or whatever, let's say I think my son's got some, my kids play the Xbox for too long. They haven't had the Xbox for 2 months now. They were asking, hey, can we get the new Xbox for Christmas? Me and my wife said, no. My wife straight out said, I'm never buying you one of those things again. Like, why? And it's a complete mood changer. Like, when they're happier now, like my oldest now, anyways, can't get into that yet, but they're happy, they hang out with people, they socialize, have a better attitude. Xbox on, hey, you could be calling up to give them $20, and they'll say 1 fucking second. Well, not to me, sometimes to my wife though, but we cut that. I went pretty hard on them lately for the swearing there. And I mean, I've taken their phones, and Austin, the oldest, I've taken his phone and smashed it right in front of him before. So, and I mean, I'm not proud of that. It's not something I should do, because I just had to replace it. But 3 years later, I replaced it. Meaning, sorry, bud, because he was babysitting and decided not to feed his younger siblings. And he tried to make Owen do it, and then there was some accidents and some messes, and some of them still didn't eat. 3 hours later after lunch when I came home, and he had his phone and whatever was playing the Xbox at the same time while being on his phone, so I took the phone and I smashed it. What? You can't do that, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah? Well, whatever. Get mad. You want to go call Children's Aid, go for it, but I'm pretty sure if I tell them what you did. Anyways, it was a learning curve and experience, and I don't think that's necessarily a good fucking thing to do, and I shouldn't have done that. There's better ways to handle that. But now it's like, whoa, if I say give me that phone, it's like, okay, I'll do it. So sometimes you gotta break an iPhone 7 like 4 years ago just to fucking get your kids listen. But the point is, if I want, let's say because when they play that Xbox, like I'm calling them up to give them $20, and they're like, 1 second, oh, and maybe it's because they're so focused and they're so into it and they enjoy it. So I kind of understand it, but at the same sense, it's like, get the fuck up here, or else you're gonna lose it. So let's say I think there's entities, dark energies, whatever on them. I don't necessarily perform magic to make sure that they go to school or get good grades, or they're studying, or they're going to bed on time. But the magic I like to perform on my children is to protect them from energies and entities that are harmful, maleficent, and destructive. And if I think there could be something there, especially with Austin, like his first seizure was, he came upstairs and he was terrified. It looked like he was trying to tell me that there was like a demon or something in the house. And if you look up seizures and people that get seizures, they'll tell you they have some pretty crazy experiences. And like I said before, there was a dark shadow that walked into my house the one day, and I don't see things often, but that thing I saw clear as day, and I wasn't meditating or nothing. I was outside just having a smoke, and I was being all cocky and thinking, hey, I can fucking take anything on. All you fucking dark spirits, come here, I'll exercise you. Something stupid, and guess what? That happened. 2 days later, Austin had his first grand mal seizure, so I felt pretty bad. But who knows? Could be unrelated. Point is, that's when I will break out my visualization in my head. I'm in the circle, but so are they. And I just did my whole thing, and then I still have beaming light coming through me or whatever to the ground, and my stepson or my daughters or my wife are doing the rituals themselves to get it out of their body, because they're not going to do it. But if at least I can keep their astral body cleansed and away from entities. Once again, if my son has a dark energy or entity around him, well, that means it's happening on the astral, does it not? Therefore, if I handle it on the astral level, then it doesn't happen down here. Do you understand now why? I'm going to end it there and then go to the next part of the video, because that's exactly what I wanted to say, and I didn't know how to say it until just now. So if everything on the astral happens down here, and there's something, whatever, whether it's just energy, people can just be negatively charged. Let's just say that, or negatively charged. or too positive. If you're too happy and you're giving out money left, right, and center until you're broke, well, that's not a good thing either. Sometimes you need to bring them back to neutral. And if that's what's happening up there, where there are entities and energies that we can't control nor see, this is why when you take control of your life, you do this ritual, and you are superimposing what's happening in your mental realm, which is going on to the astral realm, meaning you light up the astral realm, but the lesser banishing rituals of the pentagram keep everything the fuck off you. That's how it works. So everybody thinks the pentagram is evil and the devil. You're an idiot. You're stupid. It's to protect your astral body from everything else. Yes, they all know where you are, but they can't fuck with you. They can't come near you. You banish them away. You do this every day. So anyways, I think that's enough for now. But yeah, if your kids are having issues, you're having issues, or whatever the case is, start with that. Visualize them doing your ritual, the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, and whatever else, and then put a protection thing up around them in your visualization so that you handle it on the astral. And it might take 30 days of doing it, like an affirmation. Who knows? Or if you're really powerful, it might take 2 tries. But what do you got to lose? And I mean, you still take them to the hospital and figure everything out, and then who knows? Maybe they'll get healed. Holy shit. So, take this for what you want. It doesn't matter to me. Truly, it really doesn't. But I'm going to say about it anyways, and hopefully people don't think I'm just bragging or taking credit. You know, not all just me, but... So I started off this video today because we went to Chio. I'm still in Ottawa. I'm at my mother-in-law's house, who I just spoke about, the eatable mother story. Well, I'm at this house right now where David, just his PSW left, and now his nurse is in there taking his heart rate and asking about whatever. So all that's to say, well, first of all, the whole eatable mother thing I put on Sylvie was not to insult her. It was simply just to teach a lesson. And if there's ever a time to be an eatable mother, which I don't really think there's a time to be the eatable mother, whereas there's extremes. If there is a time to be the eatable mother, it's obviously when your kids are more vulnerable. So if you have a sick child, even if he's 28 now, you know, maybe it's time to let go. Because if ultimately he's dying and he's going to die, and I don't even like saying that, but just to put things in perspective, if ultimately he's going to die anyways, would it not be better than to baby him, smother him, and keep him in the house and not have any kind of life, or try to get him out there, get him into programs with people that are like him, suffering like him, and maybe he can meet people and have more friends and have more of a social life and have more fun? Would that be more optimal, or would it be more optimal to just pretend he's like, I mean, and once again, she had to deal with this her entire life. I have no idea what this is like. So who the fuck am I to judge? But I'm in there watching, and the nurse is asking David questions, and Sylvie's answering the questions. Not even David. And Sylvie's taking his temperature, which is what the nurse is supposed to do. Sylvie has a stethoscope, and she's taking his heart rate. Like, that's what he's supposed to, what the nurse is supposed to do. So, once again, none of this is to insult my mother-in-law. I love my mother-in-law. And everything that we strived through, like my wife and her, for example, together, all that shit that they went through was necessary, and I don't fault her. I don't blame her. I don't think she's a bad person. Once again, I have no idea what I would do in her situation, so I'm not going to judge her situation. But I am using it to comment on it, to teach about it. But nonetheless, I'm at this house. And my oldest son, he wants his shoes that we just bought him for Christmas. He wants them real bad. He keeps trying to find ways to get a job, or to get his shoes. And I just keep telling him it's not fair. And he talked about this one time where he came home with no shoes on. And he's like, yeah, it's because I was mad at you guys. So I told him straight out, I'm like, I get it, Austin. I did the same thing as a kid. I would pout and do things and try to hope my parents would see that I was mad at them. But I'm like, ultimately, now I know that they had no idea I was even mad at them. And even more than that, they just, it just hurt me more than anything. Anyways, and I didn't keep going on that line of thought, because then I can get more philosophical, and then I'll lose him and I'll lose everybody. So I said, life's not fair. You're better off to just tell us if you're mad at us. And then my wife chimed in. She's like, yeah. And she's like, you're always going to lose, and get used to that. And I'm like, to me, that's not the right thing to say, but I can't go against my wife. So I was just like, well, I'm like, and you can say, well, how come that's fair that I never get to win in these little fights? And it's like, well, if you want something, Austin, get a job and fucking work for it. I'm like, if you wanted the newest iPhone or the Android, if we just buy it for you, then what, you're just gonna stay in our basement? There's no motivation there for you to go out and get a fucking job. So anyways, so yeah, there's no motivation there for him to want to do and get anything if we just hand it to him. And you can say, well, how is that fair than whatever else? And I said, well, this is the circle of life, bud. When I was a kid, I didn't get to win the fights, and I had to do what my parents said because they hold the car. You don't put the hand that feeds them. But if you do what they say when they say it, then there's this thing called trust and respect and honor that comes with that. And then they teach you more things, and they give you more trust, and they give you more leeway because you're being nice, because they ultimately have the power. The parents have the power, or else they should be. You can try to take power and baby them, do whatever, but and you might win. You might end up winning. You might end up being that 29-year-old kid who doesn't get his way in Walmart, freaks out because his mother babied him all life. You won that round. But the next time you're not in Walmart and you don't have the people around you, and your mom's at home and she wants to take it out on you in all these ways, well, guess what happened? She ends up fucking getting it back. So, anyways, point I ended up saying was the circle of life. Like, it's not fair now because you're the kid, but one day you'll be the parent, and then you'll get to have the power over your kids. And it's not that we get to have power over you, it's that we have to teach you. And the best way to teach you is through these lessons of power. So anyways, that's just a little bit about what the conversation I just had. But all this is to say that I started today off by teaching about healing magic. I don't even know why I got on that topic. I just started saying it. Then I realized it was Mercury Day, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, when Mercury's in Scorpio, that's representative of the caduceus, the staff of Hermes, right? Thoth. That's what the medical symbol is. So before I get to that Frederick Xavier video, saying whatever, proving what I've been teaching, what I've been saying, and about healing and all this. My son is no longer epileptic, and I've been saying he's epileptic now for like the last 2 or 3 years, however long it's been. He's been epileptic. So when he hit puberty, this thing sparked up and things started happening. Well, they did the test, and they just ran the other test. Remember I said they had to do 2 tests? Well, nothing has changed, and everything that was there that told him he was epileptic is no longer there. So they're not completely going to say it's completely gone, unrule it out, close the file, all that shit, just in case, they're wrong, because sometimes they're wrong. And that could be the parents, that could be them, that could be just freaks of fucking anything. Anything can happen, right? But there's a good chance that he no longer have epilepsy, which is crazy, right? You get a diagnosis of epilepsy, and all of a sudden, you no longer are epileptic. And you can say, well, how is that? Well, let me tell you again. My dog had a bunch of bumps on her back. I got rid of those. My dog has a big bump on her paw, and I'm slowly getting rid of that as well right now. But I've got a lot of different magics on the go. But my wife had cervical cancer. Got rid of that as well when we first got together. That was not even knowing. So I don't know if there's natural healing abilities within me or my wife or someone in my house, but things tend to heal at my house. My stepson, who spent the last few years moping around because he's epileptic, no longer has his epilepsy. It's healed. It's done. And people mope around about having cancer and think it's the end of the world. They're adding more energy to it. And I would say that's the worst thing you can do. Now, the last little bit, he's been telling his mom he doesn't need to take his medication because he doesn't have it. And he didn't take the medication. So make that as you will. I'm not saying the medication would help or create it or make it worse or any of that. I'm just saying he didn't take the medication and he stopped believing that would work. At the same time, I would use the transformation sigil I got from Birch, and sometimes not even that. Just I would take, if I knew he just peed in the fucking toilet, or anytime I went to the toilet there was pee in it, okay, if I thought of it, I'd go get the fucking salt, and I'd say, creature of salt, creature of fucking water. I banish, reject, deny all the illness, sickness, disease, infection, and viruses from this water that is from the human body. Or that's not how I say it, but basically what I'm doing is banishing any illness and disease that's in this water, because this water came from the body, and I'm killing it in the body. And I have a special way of saying it. I can't fucking word it right now for you. It's one of these things I figured out in the moment, so I said it in the moment. But anyways, I've done that. I make candles all the time. I transform all harmful, maleficent energies, entities, destructive entities and energies in my house, and I transform them into protective, healing energies to heal and protect from all viruses, infections, illnesses, disease, and sicknesses for everyone in my family. I will leave. I'm free, so what it be. I do this often. I would say at least twice a week for the last fucking 3 years. Maybe not in the beginning there, because that's when I was just starting candle magic, and I'd focus my candle magic on something specific. But make it as you will. I'm not going to say I did one single spell and that spell did it. I'm saying I did a continuous thing of spells over and over and over again. And it seemed to have worked because he doesn't have... And you can say, well, he hit puberty and that's what spiked it. And go read how fucking common that is. Okay? So, I'll find it. If I can find it, I'll put it up here. But I looked at a stat to see. Because I'm like, well, how often? And it's like something like 20% of kids that get epilepsy when they're in their preteens, or when they start hitting puberty, 20% of them end up not being epileptic. 80% of them do. So my son's in the small percentage. You can say, well, see, that proves it. Proves what? That it's synchronicity? Proves that it's coincidence? Yeah, well, what if those 20% of people are the type of parents that, whether they are magical or not magical, or they just believe in having faith and praying to God, or whatever the case is, what if that's those 20% and the other ones are the type that are like, well, this is life sucks, we'll deal with it. I think that's more like it. All right, so that was the good news. Like I said, I just recorded a part for before I revealed that, oddly enough, my son, for the appointment. So like I said, it was funny because I went to the doctor today and I decided to record. I didn't know what the hell to talk about, so I started talking about healing magic. And then, okay, it's Mercury Day. It's fitting. And my son goes to the doctor on Mercury Day, and turns out he is no longer an epileptic. Once again, he was diagnosed with this, and we had appointments, a couple times every year. COVID hit, and we spanned out these appointments, but he had one, whatever, long ago. It wasn't quite a year. I think more said 8 months. And then now, things changed. And like I said, this is common enough, and some people say if you take the pills, you can control these seizures. So people take the pills for the rest of their life, and whatever the case is. But he wasn't taking the pills, and like I said, make that of what you will. Okay, my son had a hard time with it at first, or my stepson, and then he decided he wasn't epileptic. And me and him were on the same side. I told him though he should still take the medication, because the medication you're taking is not actually harmful. Like, I did research on it to make sure it doesn't do anything. All it does was the part of the brain where the fucking epilepsy happens, because it's like there's scar tissue there, and it's something about when electricity, energy, neurons are firing in that spot. They have too much electricity there in that one spot for whatever reason, and all this does was, it was something, anyways, it's pretty safe. The stuff you take if the person is in a seizure, not so much, which is the benzos, which is, I did half a Xan, that gets somebody right out of a seizure. So it's got a good use. It also helps alcoholics not have the shakes, so they can go to work or whatever while they're doing withdrawal. But people take it with opium, and they're getting all kinds of fucked up now. But anyway, so to just finish off, I guess what I was going with was, my grandmother was a healer. She was healing people. She healed people, okay? As she got older and she stopped practicing because she was told not to by her mom, she could still read fortunes, but she couldn't do the healing anymore. So she'd be able to tell someone they're going to have an issue or whatever, and then she could heal them back when she was a kid, but that was of the devil. And once again, the priest told her, who are you to play God? Her mom told her, who also had this ability, not to the same extent, but told her that, it's the devil's fucking gift, and it's not her fault. She was programmed, That's what I mean. Don't blame your parents for programming you. They were programmed themselves. They don't know this stuff. You know it now. You can fix the problem. So stop blaming everybody and fix the fucking problems. This is what I mean. So the pee thing I talked about, you can say it's kind of gross, but I'm not like, hey, everybody, give me a urine sample. I'm not doing that. If I see there's pee in the toilet, especially if I know, Austin just left her, Owen just left her, one of my daughters. When my baby was young and she was having all this ear infection, it was really easy. She peed in a potty. Fucking salt that bitch every time. Lo and behold, she never got ear infections, What does salt and water do? It neutralizes things. It doesn't make it more positive. It doesn't make it more negative. It takes it from either positive or negative and neutralizes it. And we know this intuitively. Things are slippery outside. We put salt on it, brings it back down to normal. You know what I mean? If you had a stressful fucking day, or you're really sore, you have a salt bath. Okay? And those are big in lots of magical traditions. So you got incenses and herbs and stuff like that. You do things with candles, and you chants and God names and sometimes the Psalms if you're in ceremonial magic. But salt bath alone, you stay in that bitch. I mean, there's this one girl who cured a type of either breast or skin cancer by using salt water, and she also added vinegar and baking soda and different things to it as well. And bathing that every day nonstop, and then she cured her fucking cancer. Is it because that actually cures cancer? Well, I don't know. I know the salt and water definitely neutralizes stuff, and the chemical reaction between the baking soda and the vinegar that does that is also actually a healthy reaction, especially within your body, believe it or not. But is it just that she believed that would heal her, and for the fucking however long she did that, like I said, I think it's what I said, but I'm not positive anymore. These things were read like years ago, but she put so much energy in that she was going to heal herself, and you know, she healed it. Once again, she got an astral. Her astral said, you're going to have fucking cancer. And she said, I fucking know. And she had time to change the fucking outcome on the astral, and it built her down into a reality. You know, we don't sit around and talk about Austin's epilepsy. You know, he was dealing with it in his own way. He was having a hard time. He was fighting with mom with the pills, and he wasn't having seizures. And we were asking his friends, we were asking his teachers, we were watching him very closely. I actually had a camera downstairs to make sure for a while, just to make sure and shit like that. We were monitoring him very closely because he's not taking medication, but you know, and that's a risky game to play. But he had a hard, he was hitting puberty. He just broke up with his girlfriend, and he was mad at his dad for not seeing him. Turned out his dad was in jail. All this happened at once, and then he had the grand mal seizure. So it's a whole lot for a kid, right? My wife, I think for one of her pregnancies, she had seizures, and then the next one, I don't know if it was Austin and Owen, or Owen and Savannah, or anyways, but she's not epileptic. Her grandmother too. Anyways, so there is something that was in her family, but nonetheless, I was on his side. I told him he should still take the pills, but I never fought with him on it. And I always said, and I do it often, like every god of the week, it doesn't matter. So if I didn't know what to make on a candle, depending on the time of the moon, so if it was a banishing, a waning time of the moon, Saturn would be the perfect one. I'm so grateful for Saturn successfully banishing all the illness, sickness, disease, infection, and viruses in my home, and the energies, harmful entities in my home attempting to affect anybody in my home. And you know, and that was just like, if I was just broad statement using the dark side of the moon, right, or like the waning part of the moon. If I was using the transformation sigil, then I would say also the opposite, like, and I transform thee. I'm grateful for Pluto, Saturn, the moon, and Mars for transforming the energy, this harmful energy, into healing, loving, gratitude energy, whatever the case was. I mean, I think it was 2 days ago I actually really did the healing thing for everybody in the family. But point is, you do these things, and I have ultimate faith. Everything I put on a candle, I know it's going to happen at some point, you know. And that's why it's like, it's sporadic, you know. On the fucking Venus and Jupiter days, I do money things. When the moon is, like, you know, like in the waxing, I'll invoke money to come to us. When the moon is waning, I'll thank them for Jupiter, for him expanding my discipline and ability to save and not splurge, you know what I mean? When it comes to Saturn, it's easy for the banishing. When it comes to invoking, I'm so grateful for being able to, how would I say that? I'm having a hard time thinking right now, everybody, just so you know. I'm pretty tired too. But so basically, so let's just start with the moon. The moon's subconscious mind, it's water, it's emotion, okay? And she's astral plane. So if it had to do with healing, what would I do on a Monday? Okay, so if it was the banishing part of the moon, I would say grateful for the moon, not allowing, banishing, rejecting, denying all illness, disease, sickness, infection, harmful energies, entities, ideas, thoughts entering in my subconscious mind, or me having an abundance of those emotions. And then Mars Day is the fire. So you can invoke Archangel Raphael also with Mars, because that's protection, but Mars is fire, is action. So, you can say you're grateful for all the great action taken to thank you for allowing me to take action and heal my body. Meaning, like, if you need to work out, if you need to start doing the salts, if you need to start doing dieting, if you need to, be able to actually take action and say, I'm not going to eat that chocolate, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Or straight up invoke Archangel fucking Michael to fucking protect you from those energies as well, and be able to fight them off. And if it was, the waning part of the moon, to banish those things away, taking the action to purge, to get these things out of you, to find out what you need to do to be the soldier and listen and take orders. If it was Wednesday, Mercury, well, Mercury, like I said, Archangel Day, baby. I like to invoke a lot of thoughts, a lot of mental fucking abilities, but if there's a healing thing that has to be done, well, if I'm far away from Mercury Day, well, I go into Mercury Hour, and I do my thing like that. However, if it's Mercury Day and I'm doing a healing, it's, if it's invoking or banishing, I'm banishing the thing out of the body. And that's the thing, if I need to do both, I just whip out the transformation sigil. So, waning moon, waxing moon, if I need to banish someone's, if I say I feel the need to banish someone's, my daughter's got an infection in her throat, I banish her infection and I invoke healthy cell growth in her throat, something to that effect. And then I said Jupiter and Venus, she's Earth. She's the element of Earth. So, anyways, I think I'm just going to end it there because my wife just asked me to come in if I'm almost done. I kind of want to get some tonight. I still have to record the freighter video to put it after this. But anyways, I am pretty happy because that's the greatest news I could have got for my oldest. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. That wasn't the intention of my video. It's just something that happened while recording this video that I just randomly talked about healing. So, but thank you for everybody for watching and tuning in, and I hope y'all have a great fucking day. And take the advice, don't take the advice, but it's all up to you. Remember about the astral thing. You gotta put whatever you want to manifest. You gotta put a lot of energy, focus into that, and part of that is cutting out focusing on other things. So you can focus on this thing over and over in your day 100 times. All right, you look at it, you kind of just like, oh, I gotta do this again, I gotta do this again. You're forcing yourself to do it, which is better than not doing it at all. Force yourself to do it is better than not doing it at all. However, then you go, whenever you're finally done, okay, and you go watch TV and you put all your emotion into some fucking conspiracy shit. Well, which one is going to manifest faster? You know what I mean? So if you're really serious about it. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. Have a great fucking day, y'all. I was going to say something stupid. I just stopped myself. Thanks a lot. Have a great fucking day.
Good way to share. It made my day, and this is what I live for. So I wanted to put it in its own video and share it with everyone as soon as possible, while it's fresh. And just when I think that the testimonials can't top some of the ones we've had in the past, along comes probably the best one we've ever had. They keep getting better. But before that, I need to remind you that this is the last chance to get in on the laws of magic. After tomorrow, March 28, 2019, at 4 p.m. Central Time, when the next lesson goes out, it will be too late to get into the series. And even though I'm going to make every effort to make it available again in the future, I cannot guarantee that it will be. And if it is, it won't be for another 6 months to a year. So strike while the iron is hot. If you've ever been thinking about taking the laws of magic, now is the time. So with that out of the way, let's get into this testimonial. Hello, Freighter Xavier. Sorry for the length, but it's a good story. So I thought I'd share some positive feedback with you regarding a sigil you shared. I haven't really worked with sigils yet. I just purchased Manifesting Reality today. But when listening to your program, you reminded me that they work best when forgotten. Well, let me tell you. On one of your YouTube videos, you shared a sigil you've used for healing, and I took a screenshot of it for reference. Now, I've been manifesting my own reality my whole life, a knowledge I seem to have been born with. And I've gotten pretty good at it, especially when done through meditation and repetition, kind of like what Bob Proctor talks about. But while I do get results, they often take long periods of time. So I decided sigil magic may be a great tool to get a better result. Here's the bad turned good news. Found out in November my dear grandfather, who is otherwise active and healthy, was diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer. 3 inoperable tumors metastasized. In January, I took the screenshot of your sigil and decided I would take a few minutes and meditate on it, feeling the joy and gratitude of my grandfather being healed and healthy. I was truly overcome with emotion, tears and all, while meditating on the sigil. Then I let it go and totally forgot about it. All the steps that we've talked about on this channel. Focusing on your sigil or your candle or your water, whatever type of magic that you're doing. Focusing and visualizing the outcome of your intention while cranking up the emotions, feeling that gratitude, and at the end letting it all go. Putting it out of your mind completely. Following the law of least expectance. And she did all this, so what happened? Well, jump forward to last week. I learned that when my grandfather went back for further testing, not only could they not find cancer in any other part of his body, but 2 of the 3 tumors are gone. Gone! The remaining tumor is 100% operable, and once removed, he will be completely cancer-free. Just this week, they did a procedure to expand his liver so it will be able to accommodate the loss of mass when they remove the tumor. Isn't that amazing? That shouldn't even be possible. Stage 4, turning what should have been a death sentence into a complete healing. But wait, there's more. Also, 2 days before he was originally supposed to have the liver expanding procedure, he had a heart attack, which required a stent. It ended up being a minor procedure done while he was awake, but had he not had it when he did, he would have likely died on the table while getting the liver procedure. That heart attack basically saved his life. The liver procedure done this week was very successful, and my family is looking forward to many years with my grandfather. I'm confident the sigil played a part in his healing. Absolutely. I felt it to be so at the time. I've known he would be fine and make it through this, and it is so. Thank you for all you do. Feel free to share this story, though I know it's long. Blessed be Axiomata. And thank you, Axiomata. Thank you for sharing this incredible testimonial and experience with us. This may be the best one we've ever had. They'll tell you that this shouldn't be possible. I would have loved to see the look on the doctor's face when he discovered that most of the cancer was gone. An absolutely incredible story. You did everything right and it paid off big. Not only did you go through the steps as mentioned before, but you also declared your unwavering faith at the end. 100% absolute certainty that your grandfather would be okay. You had no room for doubt. We've talked about the importance of having faith on this channel before, and this has been an excellent reminder of it. For it is said that faith can move mountains. Your grandfather is fortunate to have you as his granddaughter, someone who now knows what to do. It's another case of magic making the seemingly impossible possible. And I've witnessed some pretty impossible things come to pass myself. It's when the miraculous happens that you will have absolutely no doubt that magic is real. Because most of the time when magic manifests, it happens in such a coincidental way that no matter how unlikely it may have been, there still may be some lingering doubt. That's not the case when you're performing miracles and healing stage 4 cancer. Now, I feel like I need to put up a disclaimer for those listening that your results may vary, because she has done everything right, including not being desperate for a result. She knew her grandfather would be healed and didn't linger on it. That is one of the toughest things to do when it comes to healing magic, at a time when people are desperate for a result. Remember, desperation magic is bad magic. So this is only a testimonial of what is possible when you do everything correctly. Also notice that her grandfather still went to the doctor. I wish I didn't have to say it, but magic is not a substitute for proper medical advice. Magic is an add-on option. You do it in addition to seeing your doctor. And this is a perfect example of that because he wasn't healed completely. There was still one tumor left that the doctor needed to deal with, but the magic allowed him to do so. So action supports the magic and magic supports the action. If it wasn't for the doctors and the procedure, he would still have it. Not to mention the stent for the heart attack. And this is why Magick is an add-on to your health care. It's not a substitute for it. Okay? So yeah, this really made my day. I couldn't wait to share this testimonial with you because this is what I live for. We can now say that we're saving lives on this channel. Finally. We get to at least deduct one from our alleged kill count. It's often difficult to know exactly when you've saved someone with Magick, but I think in this case, it's pretty obvious. I think that healing stage 4 cancer with nothing but a sigil would certainly qualify. And if you'd like to learn the ins and outs of sigil magic, the Manifesting Reality program, complete course in sigil magic, is still on sale, but not for much longer. You'll only save 20% through this Friday, so get it while the getting is good. Once again, I'd like to thank Axiomata for this incredible testimony, for what is probably the best testimonial that we've ever had. Thank you so much for sharing. I wish you and your grandfather all the best and blessings to you both. And I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time and joining me. And I'll see you next time. Take care.